Got a good one for y'all. Look, hey, it's two ones. I hope I can get through it. But look, let's go ahead and kick it off.
That happy wife, happy life phrase, there must be a reason why it became cliche, why it became popular.
Well, it became popular because I think so many people were willing to accept the unbelievably ridiculous model of relationships that's led us to a 56% divorce rate and probably another 20 or 30% staying together unbelievably miserable but not wanting to give up half their stuff.
Okay, so look, I'm gonna come back to this one. I had to get y'all with that. I'm gonna come back to this one, but before we get to this one, I needed to play that good part for context. Yeah, this I'll be finding shit for y'all because I love y'all. Look, man, let's kick it off. Oh wait, hang on.
Here first.
Skirt. Let's get to the beginning. Now think about what we just heard, and think about what we're about to hear.
What we have right now is there's fewer and fewer men that are hypergamous mates for women. So if there's a much smaller pool of guys, then what you have is you have a bunch of women competing for the same men, and then a bunch of guys get ignored. But what I also see is that those top guys are having a hard time deciding. So I feel
So therefore, happy wife, happy life doesn't necessarily, because what did he just say about the divorce rate? This is why I had to put it in context and play it back to back like that, because it's a correlation, you know? You have to excel. You have to be an exceptional man out here. It's the game, and this is the game. It's not just a new phenomenon. The only reason why it's happening like this right now and is becoming so noticeable in this age, because the old false patriarchal matrix, the artificial patriarchal matrix is falling apart and is no longer working in the Aquarian age. It worked in the age of Pisces to get us to the age of Aquarius, even though the age of Pisces got hijacked. But this is the reason of why it is like that. And in nature, it's a universal nature. It's a feminine universe, and it's a feminine planet, and it's Mother Nature. So these are the rules. You get what I mean? For a man, you have to be exceptional, like the sun that pulled the planets. It is what it is. Be electric.
feel like in my coaching practice as a dating coach, I'm working with a lot of women who say, what do I do? I've changed my profile the way you said I should. I took your class, but I still feel like there's just not enough great guys. And then I work with these CEO men who...
Hey, now you see what she said? It's not enough great guys. She didn't say good guys. She said great guys. You have to be exceptional. You have to be exceptional. You have to be exceptional. And you, for a man, even if you are born skilled and great, you feel me, you still can be better and be more exceptional than what you already are. So, and most guys are not at that kind of level, and they don't even want to be at that kind of level. I'm talking about well-rounded all the way around. You have to be exceptional.
Are having such a hard time choosing. And so I think we really have this exacerbated problem where so many women are competing for the same men, and then a bunch of guys are getting ignored. And then what ends up happening...
Also, it's not hard to be exceptional. Don't think that it's an extremely hard thing, but you do have to put in the work on yourself. You have to be disciplined. You have to be focused. You have to do hard work. It is what it is. You can't run from hard work. And that's in anything and everything you do.
Happening is, where do those guys go? And they go online. That's what you see.
They go to porn.
They go to porn.
Facts.
Or they go to Reddit. I mean, I love Reddit, but they're really going to some of these red-pilled communities. And so what you're seeing now is just men really opting out of society. So when you go back to that stat, 1 in 7 young men in the UK is NEET, not an employment, education, or training. They have just opted out.
But they still surviving, and they become destructive little fuckers of society. No offense. Or they become harmful to themselves. It just is what it is. And the trends in the social programming that we have been indoctrinated with, especially over the last, they picked up over the last few decades. But we've been indoctrinated with a bad system, and the men have adapted it and took it as face value. That's why everywhere in the States, especially the major cities, it look like Grand Theft Auto. You feel me? That's all it is Grand Theft Auto and Black Ops. Real talk. Like real talk, man. Like real talk. And it doesn't have to just be with guns, because even in the UK and Australia, they still violent. You get what I mean? It's like an over amount of aggression, you feel me? Because it's not channeled into anything productive or beneficial for society, because the future generations or the previous generations, my mistake, misled the men. They had us on bullshit, real talk. And you have to pull out from the false bullshit, the false matrix, and peek what the real game is. And then you have to, man, put in work.
Scott says there's nothing scarier than a single man, a young single man.
Damn.
And so we are just creating a lot of these angry young single men who are saying, well, this is rigged against me.
It is.
And so that's why I am worried about.
But it is. But it is because it's rigged against you, because they rigged it not for you, but they rigged it for them, and you happen to be a beneficiary of the system. That's the reason. It wasn't, the system was never built for you. You just benefited from them because that's how they organized it. But the systems are falling apart because people no longer believe in the institutions that keep the systems in place. So now it's becoming organic, natural law, how it should have been. And you have to adapt well, because even the false patriarchal system is going to be matriarchized, or what would it be? What would be matriarchalized? I don't know, but it's about to get feminined out. And it don't mean it's just gonna be soft, but it's about to be a good swap in power.
The rise of people like Andrew Tate. And if we wonder, where are the dads, where are the men? Well, men are finding these father figures, but they're finding them online, and they're not the father figures that I would choose for the majority of men.
But it's always been like that in nature, because men have never grew up in structured matriarchal or equal societies. It's never been that for as long as the last couple of 100 years. Good couple of 700 for real. Before that, especially in good parts of the world, everything was matriarchal. So matriarchal doesn't mean woman dominated. It just means everything is in an organic order. Everything has its place. Men had their place. And it was, man.
And so I'm really worried about this, because I feel like women are saying, guys, you need to step up because I can provide, and I don't.
You do. Guys, you need to step up.
Need that from you. And guys are not prepared to rise to the occasion.
Now, that's because a lot of the women that are saying that are being suppressed socially, as far as the social media. They're being suppressed by so much of the content that's saying money, go digger, I need this 304 activities and sexual transactions for love. Go digger shit, like real shit. And dudes is taking it as, because women are saying they want a provider, and yes, they would like to be in their soft femininity and not be able to worry about bills or anything, because that's not what they do. They are not good at structuring their own lives. That's not their job. They just let shit be. You can't let shit be. Men structure things. And then, you feel me, you put women that's already in the structure and let them be. You get what I mean? And they will flourish. But you have to set up the structure and the foundation. And because the financial stress in the economy, it has fucked a lot of things up, especially psychologically. But it's not. It's, man, you got to get on it. You got to get on it.
What are women looking for? Scott talked about height.
Yeah. So I would say, I work at Hinge, but I do think that apps have perpetuated this issue around height, because if you can set your height filter to something, then you might set it higher. And then it's as if you have the dating app as a club, and you're literally having bouncers that prevent a bunch of guys from even getting into the club. So many women in the US set their height filters at 6 feet, but only 14% of men in the US are 6 feet or taller. So what happens?
Hey, fuck them dating apps. Get in the field, man. Get in the field. Pull up on them. Change your appearance. Get a haircut. Line yourself up. Get clean. Smell good. You ain't got to go cash out a lot, but go treat yourself and get nice, man. And say, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Damn, you look good. And if she regrets you or keep it lit, hey, it's all good. Have a good day. Keep it lit to the next one. Get in the field. Be okay with rejection. You know, say I'm just talking about just straight off the drip. You ain't even gotta be trying to knock them down. You feel me? And get their number. Just get in the practice of speaking to women and feel for the vibes. If she's smiling, hey, how you doing? Have a good one. You know, keep it lit on the conversation. If she's leading with the conversation, or she seems like she's more engaged after you say that, then yeah, you know, chop it up with her. But bro, you got to get in the field.
The other 86% of men, and women are saying, where's my guy? It's like, well, he's not even showing up on your app. And so a huge thing that I push women to do is to change their height filters and just say, there is nothing that proves that you're going to have a successful long-term relationship if the guy is higher. I'm married to a short king. I love it. I feel like I really found this gem. And
I heard a lot of ladies do like short dudes, and I'm not saying I don't know how short. You feel me? I feel like I'm pretty short. I'm like 6 feet. You feel me? And I think a lot of them prefer like, especially like 6'4", you know, 6'6". But I hear that height really doesn't make a difference.
And I think that so many women are missing out on great potential partners because of things like height.
Scott's point as well about they will date one of the men in the top 10%,
Yeah.
sleep with him potentially, and then that kind of adjusts their standards, and they expect all other men to meet that standard, but there isn't enough men to meet that standard, is there?
I haven't specifically heard that. I mean, there is a lot of evidence around a sort of mating that people sort of have an internal sense of how attractive they are and that they end up with someone similar to that. But a sort of mating is different than
That's cap. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's not just money. Money does it too. You feel me? Like it is, and you got to know what type of women to go after. Like fellas, listen up. You got to know what type of women to go after. Ladies, you need to know what type of men to go after. Like for real, you need to pay attention to what they saying and how they acting. And fellas, you too. But it's like, it's whoo. You gotta know certain types. And you gotta really pay attention to what's coming out their mouth and their appearance. You gotta pay attention to it. And it's like, yeah.
hypergamy, which is really this idea, as Scott said, that women tend to date horizontally and up and men date horizontally and down. So if you have 2/3 of women who are college.
Yeah, nah, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. If you always working on yourself and you staying consistent, you can always get better. You feel me? It's not just a appearance thing. You feel me? Like you can be hurt and still get a bad one for real. And you can actually, like you ain't gotta be hella rich to have them either. You get what I mean? It all depends on you, your conversation. It depends on what kind of connection are you establishing with them, and that's the key to it.
Grads, and 1/3 of college grads who are men, and some of them are going to date women without college degrees. You truly do have this dating crisis where there's just not enough men to meet this hypergamous mating.
Again, you can't tell women to lower their expectations, but this is the reality. When you ask a man if you could have a woman who had 80% of everything you wanted, 75% say, yeah, I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
When you say to a woman, a man has 80% of what you want, 75% say that's not enough. But but even look at the media.
Right.
What does the media tell a woman to do? He's out, but he didn't open your door. He's not nice to his parent. You walk right out.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know where these stats is coming from, because again, I know a lot of good women. And I don't think that they just talk to dudes who be having 80% of what they want. Now maybe it may be 80% of what they look like. You get what I mean? But it ain't just 80% of what they want. But yeah.
Out on that man. Like it's literally every piece of media is, you don't need him. You're a strong, independent woman. Pull the ripcord. You're out. And it is the basic kind of
It's the agenda.
Communication around this is you are a strong, independent.
But also, too, you got to remember, once upon a time, and this is why age plays a difference. When he was a young boy, I'm pretty sure the same media was playing things about, hey, keep that woman in check. Hey, know your place, woman, because those were the times. That was the program, the social program that was during at that period. That's just is what it is. This is a new period.
And a powerful woman. That is wonderful. And quite frankly, you don't need the imperfect man. And they're just not connecting. I read that on Tinder, a man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. They will decide they don't want to meet him or they won't show up. That means a guy of average attractiveness has to swipe right 1,000 times to get one coffee. Now, what does that tell that guy? Women don't value me. Women make me feel rejected. And then they go online and they see these misogynists.
But okay, so it's like also too, do you value yourself? Why are you looking for her approval to value you? That's not her job. You're supposed to value yourself. You value yourself, you become valuable. She will value you just because you value yourself. That's the difference. If you don't value yourself, she's never going to value you. Guaranteed. Tell you the truth, value yourself more than you value her. I guarantee you she'll value you a whole lot more.
Telling them it's not your fault.
But also too, when you value yourself a lot, everything that you pour into yourself, you're pouring into her because it's your structure. So that's the reason why it is what it is. You have to value yourself and you have to do the work.
And these men become much more prone to misogynistic content, much more prone to nationalistic content, blaming other people for the lack of economic opportunity. They start sequestering from society. I worry that we are literally evolving a new species of asexual, asocial male. And if a man by the age of 30 hasn't either lived with someone or married someone, there's a 1 in 3 chance he's going to have a substance abuse problem.
Wow.
In addition, it goes so much deeper than that, because if they don't develop the skills, the reason romantic comedies are 2 hours, not 15 minutes, is this shit is hard. Like finding an attractive, intelligent woman, generally speaking, 75% of people who've been married longer than 30 years say, in the beginning, one was much more interested than the other. And it was almost always the man. Women are much choosier. The basis of evolution is seed trying to get everywhere, men, and women deploying a much finer filter to select the strongest, smartest, and fastest speed. So men need an environment to demonstrate excellence. And you hear these women talk about it. He was kind. He was good at work. I liked the way he smelled. He was funny. Where do men demonstrate excellence? When they're not going to college, they're not going into an office because of remote work. Where do they're not going to church, they're not going to temple. Where does a woman have the opportunity to fall in love other than these baseline metrics? And you were talking about women say, you've seen these TikToks, over $100,000, that's not unreasonable, and over 6 feet, that's 2.2% of the male population.
Okay, so 2.2 of the male population. I had seen a little bit of this earlier, and I believe it is 40 million out of 4 billion. That's what it is. That's what the numbers is. So around there. Now my question of that is, you feel me? Like, what are you doing to stand out? Like, I like Alex Mosley, you feel me? A lot of people don't, for other reasons. But he says something where he was like, man, how hard are you working? Like he's the super work fanatic as far as working on himself. And I feel like for a man, you should be like that. Like physically, mentally, socially, you feel me? Less socially, if unless it has to do with your finances and economics. Like it's about handling your business, like for real, spiritually, for sure, psychologically, your emotions. You should be on point on all corners.
So where do they fall in love? Where can a man demonstrate excellence? It used to be go to temple, 7 single women, 7 single men, and they kind of paired off and worked it out. And online dating, similar to online e-commerce, online rentals, it's created a winner take most, if not all, environment. And it is.
This is why you have to be exceptional. It didn't create it. It's just falling back into organic, natural law.
Basically been amazing for attractive guys, attractive, wealthy guys, tall, wealthy.
Don't think of the attractive as just the appearance. Attraction as far as the energy. That's because women are magnetic. If the man is electric, he's attracting the magnetic beings.
The guys, it's been amazing for them. For all the other guys, it's been a disaster, and it's been made it mildly shittier for every woman.
For sure, because it's too many going after the same one. That's why other men have to get charged up.
The digitization of mating, I believe, has been a disaster. It's been bad for women. It's been disastrous for men.
I want to talk about how the genders seem to be separating in a lot of important ways. We know from research around political affiliation that women are now, on average, 30% more liberal than men. So they are definitely experiencing political polarization. Then, for the first time in history, more men are attending church than women. And when I started this research, I really came at it from this point of, is it just
because women are getting back into structure, and they are taking the positions, even though it's like I ain't even want to talk about the false government, but men they need more realignment. So they need, church is good for people who need, like help with character and principles to give, things to something for you to believe in, like I'm a spiritual person. I'm not religious, but I grew up in a Baptist household, and I know it has its place. I also studied Islam. I got a lot of Buddhist friends. I've looked at a lot of different religions, and I've always noticed a lot of correlations when it comes to a lot of the main ones right now, about the women being X'd off. And I also noticed in a lot of older ones of how much power the women actually had. You get what I mean? Guys need help mentally in dealing with their emotions and finding that courage or finding that will, that flame, that inner spirit game. Get in nature.
just me or there are not as many eligible guys? But when I dug into this, I found that both genders really feel misunderstood. And so I
Bingo.
asked men and women who has more power in relationships. So equal amounts, men and women said, oh, we have the same amount of power, 42% of that. But then what was so interesting is that 46% of men said women have more power, and 46% of women said men have more power. So there's this huge feeling of, oh, the other
because it's literally equal. It's literally it's what it is. It's an ebb and flow.
Gender has all of this power. And when I spoke to people, I want to tell you about 3 dating paradoxes that I saw. So the first dating paradox for men is this idea that now that women are providers and do not need a man to take care of them financially, they really want guys to step up with emotional support.
And they should. They should, because that's the natural law. Women are better providers because they provide. Like, if you think of lions, the male lions don't hunt. Like, they're shitty hunters, apparently. The shittiest. But that's not their job. And the women hunt in packs. Think about, you get what I'm saying, polygamy. A lot of things with polygamy is a lot of women will get a lot of things done faster than the men. You get what I mean? Or it's corporations, how it used to be. You go, yeah. But yeah, it's just being better.
But here's the paradox. They were not raised and they don't know how to give that emotional support or emotional availability. So we know women, even if they have the same number of friends as guys, the women are talking to their friends much more.
Men have to be better with their emotions. Emotional intelligence, emotional control. Acknowledge the emotions. Don't suppress it.
Often, women speak to their kids, even starting at a very young age. They use more emotional language with their daughters and their sons. So constantly we have this feeling where we're asking men to do something when they don't have the skills. I was talking to...
Oh, that's facts. I know that hurt, but that's real. A lot of men ain't got the skills because they ain't put in the work.
To my friend Dave.
Women out here putting in the work. Shout out to the ladies putting in the work. It's all about putting in the work.
David, and he said women are in graduate school when it comes to emotional conversations and guys are in 3rd grade. The other part of the paradox,
you gotta I ain't gonna say they in graduate school, because a good part of when it comes to emotional conversation is being able to process the emotions and accept your part. A lot of women don't do that. Like, they may downplay their part when it comes to situations, and that is an issue too.
Is that women are asking men to be more emotionally open, but but then they get shamed when they do that. So we have this great quote from Brene Brown where she says, we beg guys to open up, we beg them to let us in, and then when they do, we can't stomach it. And
sad facts.
I heard that over and over in my...
Because it's how you open up. Having emotional intelligence and having emotional control is knowing what to share and how to share it. You don't just pour your feelings and overwhelm them. It don't work like that. That's not what you do.
Research. There's this quote where a guy says, a woman would rather see me die on the white horse than fall off of it.
Damn.
And so there's this sense that I have to be perfect. I have to be the masculine and the feminine, but I don't have the skills to do that. And women say that they want these guys to be emotional, but as soon as they show emotionality, it can freak those women out.
Man, it's sticky tricky.
So one guy that I spoke to for this said, I went on a few dates with this woman. At some point I told her that my mom had had a suicide attempt. And the next day she texted me and said, I'm sorry, I can't see you. I cannot process your emotional trauma for you. And so guys are getting a lot of mixed messages. We want you to be feminine. We want you to support us. But when you do, it freaks us out. And so we don't want that. And digging into the research, and I want to look into this more, I think it's that a lot of women want emotional support. They want you to support them in their emotional journeys, but they're not as ready to have you open up in your emotional journey.
Can I put forward a thesis, and I want you to respond
Yeah.
to it because I haven't done the research. In marketing, we call it consumer dissonance, what people say they want,
Yeah.
and then what they actually buy. And what women say they want is an emotionally in touch man, and what they want is a masculine man. And that they will articulate what they want in a man, and includes being more emotionally.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like people put limitations on themselves. You can do all. You could do so many things, man, if you just apply it and be consistent in it and learn the skills. You can do it.
Available, and then they want to have sex with a traditional masculine man.
Yes, you can do it. You gotta know how to switch it on. You have to be exceptional. Like, it sucks. No, it doesn't. It doesn't suck. I'm not even gonna say that. It doesn't suck. Because what's wrong with being exceptional? What's wrong with striving to be that? You're always gonna be working on yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's something wrong with that.
And what I hear from a lot of, and this is anecdotal evidence, and it's pulse marketing, and you tell me what the data says, but there's just so many single women in my age group, and it feels like there's literally no men in my age group. As bad as it is for people in their 20s and 30s, try being a woman in your 50s trying to date, right? And they tell me the same thing. These are liberal, progressive, educated women. They say, by the way, I like a manly man.
Yeah.
And they say it under their breath. So there's what supposedly is stated around, I need more emotional availability, someone's touch with their feelings. But what the research shows is they want a guy with facial hair, who's still, women are still very attracted to traditional masculine attributes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just in such a hard moment because you have women who are saying, I don't want to date a guy who earns less than me. And you might think, okay, well, the data hasn't caught up with the dating. If more women are in higher education and...
Okay, yeah. I'm on a, man... Hey, I think it's a good one, man. We gonna wrap this up on this one. Y'all finish checking this out, man, and I'm gonna holla at y'all on the next one.